মোচায়ে মলিন মর্ম মোছায়ে।
Atulprasad Sen and Rajanikanta Sen were Rabindranath Tagore's contemporaries. The poet knew them well and admired their music. He was older than both and lived much longer. The works of the two musical luminaries, however, were not directly influenced by Rabindranath. They concentrated on composing songs and writing lyrics. They did not show any interest in publications or even keeping a record of notations of their songs. The late 19th and early 20th centuries was a period of social and political unrest. British influence was quite dominant in Bengali life. While the society was swept by a wave of patriotism, it was fashionable on the part of Bengali families to send the young to England for higher studies. Atulprasad went to England to study law. Rajanikanta's case was different. He also became a lawyer, but he had to run a big family with a small income after his father's untimely death. Atulprasad married his own cousin secretly in a village in Scotland. He was a neo-Brahmo. Brahmos permitted intercaste marriage, but luck did not favor Atulprasad. He was sort of ostracized and landed in Lucknow to pursue a legal profession. Both Atulprasad and Rajanikanta had little opportunity to study music seriously. In both, music came spontaneously, and through their natural inclinations and initiatives, they became champions of Bengali music. Atulprasad had wanted to settle down abroad, but he failed to make much headway in his legal profession. He was so starved of a decent livelihood that he saw one of his twin sons suffering an untimely death. Eventually, a friend, Mumtaz Hussain, suggested that he start practicing law in Lucknow, which is today the capital of Uttar Pradesh. Many of us do not know that Atulprasad played a key role in shaping a modern city. He was a very successful lawyer and social figure. He was behind the formation of Lucknow University and was chairman of Lucknow municipality. Atulprasad lived in Lucknow for 38 years. Locals called him Bhaida. He divided his time between his profession and social service that included programs on poverty alleviation, women's liberation, education for all, and promotion of Bengali culture outside Bengal. The Bengali community in Lucknow remembers Atulprasad till today and tries to keep his memory alive. Atulprasad's initiation into music took place in his youth. Brahmos at the time met for prayers. He found interest in their musical activities. Earlier in England, he had become interested in Western classical music. It is said that on his way to England, he had heard the songs of gondola sailors in Venice and had composed a piece. The song had a patriotic flavor. The whole of India was then engaged in the movement for liberation from the British. This song became a signature tune and he had to sing it all the time. In England, he discovered the company of Chittaranjan Das, Madan Mohan Malviya, Aurobindo Ghosh, D.L. Roy, Sarojini Naidu and many others. News of Vivekananda's Chicago address reached them in London. Atulprasad had to sing this song often to express nationalist sentiments for the benefit of his friends in London. By nature, Atulprasad was a romantic. His strained relationship with his wife Hemkushum disturbed the musician, especially because she did not want to live with her mother-in-law. Ironically, this mental agony resulted in the creation of many a masterpiece.
আমারো বাগানে এত ফুল তবু কেন চলে যায় আমারো বাগানে এত ফুল তবু কেন চলে তারা চেয়ে আছে তারি পানে সে তো নাহি ফিরে যায় আমারও বাগানে এত ফুল নিত্য ছিলাম রুদ্ধ ঘরে কেড়ে নিলে দয়া করে তাই হে চির তোমার চাই কেড়ে নিলে দয়া করে তাই হে চির তোমার চাই যদি আপন ঘরে বেশ ঘরে পিতাম না ঠাই
Lucknow was the land of Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab, who possessed a great love for art and culture. Atulprasad mingled with the musical environment and produced rich compositions. Great singers like Ratan Jankarji, instrumentalists like Thakur Nawab Ali, Barkat Ali, Ustad Ahmed Khalif Khan and Ustad Chote Munna Khan were very close to him. He invited the legendary singer Achan Bai to his house for a performance. Whenever singers from Gwalior, Rampur, Hyderabad, Mathura and Indore came to Lucknow, Atulprasad met them and listened to their music. The influence of Thumri and Ghazal was palpable in his compositions, but he was no less curious about kirtan, baul, bhatiyale and other genres of music. Dilip Kumar Roy, son of the playwright D.L. Roy and a musical giant, was his friend. He was responsible for popularizing Atulprasad songs all over the country. We will now listen to some of his timeless compositions.
Atulprasad's originality lay in his power to adopt different styles of musical composition freely. His long life in Lucknow rewarded Atulprasad with a sound knowledge of Thumri and Ghazal. Here is a Ghazal style composition.
বড় ব্যথা তোমায় চাওয়া ব্যথা ভুলে যাওয়া বড় ব্যথা তোমায় চাওয়া ব্যথা ভুলে যাওয়া যদি ব্যথি না আসিবে যদি ব্যথি না আসিবে যদি ব্যথি না আসিবে যদি ব্যথি না আসিবে এত ব্যথা কেন পাওয়াও কত গান তো হলো গাওয়া আর মিছে কেন গাওয়াও কত গান তো হলো গাওয়া আর মিছে কেন গাওয়া.
Now a grand composition in Raga Pelu invoking monsoon melody.
গগন হেলোলে কালো মেঘ দোলে গগন হেলোলে কালো মেঘ দোলে ঝুম ঝুম নূপুর পায়ে ঝুম ঝুম নূপুর পায়ে ঝুম 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 নূপুর পায়ে ঝুম ঝুম নূপুর পায়ে শ্রাবণ ঝুলাতে শ্রাবণ ঝুলাতে বাদল বাতে তোরা আয় গো কে ঝুলিবি শ্রাবণ ঝুলাতে শ্রাবণ ঝুলাতে.
Alongside serious mood-based composition, Atulprasad tried a lighter notes with equal ease. This one is an adaptation of Kajri style.
এই বুকে ফোটে সুখে এই বুকে ফোটে সুখে হাসি মুখে শত দল নহে তীরে এই নীরে হবি রে শীতল বলে চল জল বলে চল মোর সাথে চল তোর আখি জল হবে না বিফল কখনো হবে না বিফল যে দেখ মোর নীল জলে শত চাঁদ করে টলমল বলে চল জল বলে চল মোর সাথে চল তোর আখি জল হবে না বিফল কখনো হবে না বিফল বলে চল জল বলে চল.
Atulprasad's power how to match lyrics with notes, found best expression in his patriotic number. The song became the household tune to the Bengalis during freedom movement.
নানা ভাষা নানা মত নানা পরিধান বিবিধের মাঝে দেখো মিলন মহান নানা ভাষা নানা মত নানা পরিধান বিবিধের মাঝে দেখো মিলন মহান দেখিয়া ভারতে মহাজাতির উত্থান দেখিয়া ভারতে মহাজাতির উত্থান জগ জন মানিবে বিষয় জগ জন মানিবে বিষয় হও ধর্মেতে ধীর হও করমেতে বীর হও উন্নতশীর নাহি ভয় হও ধর্মেতে ধীর হও করমেতে বীর হও উন্নতশীর নাহি ভয় হও উন্নতশীর নাহি ভয় হও উন্নতশীর নাহি ভয়
Except for a liking for the flute since his youth, Rajanikanta never had the opportunity to study music. He was a poor lawyer who had to devote all his time to earning a living. Music, however, was his first love. He could present a composition in his voice virtually without any preparation. Rajanikanta's daughter and a friend whom we know as Kota Sahib had learnt the songs but left no notations for posterity. However, Rajanikanta's grandson, Dilip Kumar Roy, is still among us, and he throws light on various aspects of the composer.
ওই বধির জবনিকা তুলে আমরে প্রভু দেখাও তব চির আলোক ওপারে সবে ভালো কেবল সুখ আলো এপারে সবে ব্যথা আধার শোক We hardly know about his activities, how he trained himself to compose and put tunes on the songs. What were they? The rags and raginis he preferred. There is no mention of it anywhere. As a matter of fact, it seemed to us that these things were rather spontaneous. He felt something, he wrote down a poem and immediately tune on it. Whether it was good enough or bad enough, or he didn't care. He had a few followers who loved him, who came to him very frequently and learnt the songs he had composed just before their coming. There was a meeting to be held in Rajshahi. Probably literary meeting. So the cream of Rajshahi had assembled there, and one gentleman, probably he was Akhay Moitro, he said, Rajani, তো সব শিক্ষিত ব্যক্তিরা আসছেন, তা এই অনুষ্ঠানের একটা গান দিয়ে আরম্ভ করা তো উচিত, তো তুমি একটা গান দাও। রজনী তাকালেন তার দিকে, পাশের ঘরে গেলেন, took a paper and pencil and wrote down a big song. আর গান তো হলো, সুর দাও, immediately sang. তব চরণ উৎসবময় শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা তব চরণ উৎসবময় শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা
ঊর্ধ্বে চাহ অগণিত মুনিরঞ্জিত নভনীলাঞ্চলা সৌম্য মধুর দীপাঙ্গনা শান্ত কুশল দরসা শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা তব চরণ নিম্নে উৎসবময়ী শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা দূরে হেরো চন্দ্র কিরণ উদ্ভাসিত গঙ্গা নৃত্য পুলক গীতি মুখর কলুষ হর তরঙ্গা ধায় মত্ত হরষে সাগর পদ পরশে কুলে কুলে করে পরিবেশন মঙ্গলময় বরষা শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা তব চরণ নিম্নে উৎসবময়ী শ্যাম ধরণী সরসা।
My mother, she was very favorite daughter of Rajanikanta. Mother and the brother just ahead of her. These two formed a sort of so what shall I say, career of Rajanikanta Sen. Rajanikanta, wherever he went, if possible he would have taken these two along with him, and they would hear the songs and remember. Not that always Rajanikanta asked them to learn it from him, but they heard the songs being sung here and there and even in their own home, and then finally they picked it up and remembered till their last day of life. I have made notation for about 150 songs. Din dukhine maj thadar tar besya sadhanai din dukhine maj thadar tar besya sadhanai mayer deva mota kapor matha tule deve bhai
স্বপনে তাহারে কুড়ায় পেয়েছি রেখেছি স্বপনে ঢাকিয়া আমি স্বপনে তাহারে কুড়ায় পেয়েছি রেখেছি স্বপনে ঢাকিয়া স্বপনে তাহারে মুখানি নিরখে স্বপন কুহেলি মাখিয়া আমি স্বপনে তাহারে কুড়ায়ে পেয়েছি রেখেছি স্বপনে ঢাকিয়া কারে বড় মালা দেনু স্বপনে হলো হৃদয় বিনিময় গোপনে কারে বড় মালা দেনু স্বপনে হলো হৃদয় বিনিময় গোপনে স্বপনে দুজনে প্রেম আলাপনে স্বপনে দুজনে প্রেম আলাপনে জাপি সারা নিশে জাগিয়া আমি স্বপনে তাহারে কুড়ায়ে পেয়েছি রেখেছি স্বপনে ঢাক।
The essence of Rajanikanta's music was spiritual, an escape route for an artist steeped in anguish. Rajanikanta could sing 7 to 8 hours at a stretch in life as much as in his music. He surrendered to the power of the Almighty. As a composer, he was an amateur with no formal training, but even with a simple style, he was able to create a great impact.
ভ্রান্ত অন্ধ অন্ধকারে তোমারি সুপথ পাবে কি আর, ভ্রান্ত অন্ধ অন্ধকারে তোমারি সুপথ পাবে কি আর, নিঃসহায় 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 অবসচিতে মোহবিকার, ভ্রান্ত অন্ধ অন্ধকারে তোমারি সুপথ পাবে কি আর।
তব আশিস কুসুম ধরি নাই শিরে, পায়ে দোলে গেছি চাহি নাই ফিরে। আশিস কুসুম ধরি নাই শিরে, পায়ে দোলে গেছি চাহি নাই ফিরে। তবু দয়া করে কেবলি দিয়েছ, তবু দয়া করে কেবলি দিয়েছ প্রতিদান, কিছু চাওনি। আমি অকৃতি অধম বলেও তো কিছু কম করে মোরে দাওনি।
Both Atulprasad and Rajanikanta were fond of Rabindranath. Atulprasad had quite a few meetings with the poet. He often visited Shantiniketan and sang in front of the poet. Rabindranath also visited Lucknow on his invitation and met him whenever he passed by. When Rabindranath received the Nobel Prize, Atulprasad composed a song. It was a great example of a tribute by a young composer to a respected elder.
ওই ভাষাতেই বলবো আমি, ওই ভাষাতেই বলবো হরি, সাঙ্গ হলে কাঁদা হাসা আমরি বাংলা ভাষা, মোদের গরব মোদের আশা আমরি বাংলা ভাষা, মোদের গরব মোদের আশা আমরি বাংলা ভাষা।
Rajanikanta met Rabindranath only once, when the poet visited him at the Calcutta Medical College Hospital. Excessive pressure on the voice had led to cancer in the throat. He requested the poet to sing for him, which the poet did happily. After the visit, Rabindranath wrote a letter. The body has been defeated, but it could not stop music. All comforts of life are destroyed, but his bhakti and faith are intact. Bengali vocal music has progressed well beyond the times to which the two composers belong. What strikes us most about their art is that neither of them imitated Tagore. One can identify them as independent artists with specific signatures. We will conclude with a composition by Atulprasad Sen. The song had entered the minds and hearts of millions during the freedom movement. It speaks of India as a model nation, the best in every respect.
বলো 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 সবে, শত বীণা বেণু রবে, ভারত আবার জগৎ সভায় শ্রেষ্ঠ আসন লবে। ভারত ভানু কোথা লুকালে, ভারত ভানু পুনঃ দিবে কবে, পূরব ভারত